Welcome all to another episode of Brews and Banter. I'm Redbeard. This is Targo.
That's me.
Handsome devil over there. Today, we will break down how your favorite Premier League teams did this weekend. VAR, back at it again. Take a sneak peek into the upcoming Matchday 2 in the Champions League and discuss the 5 best games of the weekend. Let's get into it. All right. Make sure to check out our social media platforms, our Facebook page, Facebook group, Instagram, our TikTok channel, YouTube channel. Make sure to give us 5 stars on all your favorite social media platforms and podcast platforms. Really just the podcast platforms.
Say, where can you get 5 stars at, man, on Facebook?
I don't know. Yeah. I'm going to find out, though. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Really help us get out into that algorithm and help us promote our channel. Thank you, guys. We love you. All right, Targo. The most important part of this episode. What are you drinking today?
The most important part. I am drinking Level Beer. It is a Bad Hombre Mexican-style lager.
Ooh.
Well, it says beer with balance. This easy drinking style of beer made popular in Mexico. Light-bodied, crisp, clean malt character with mild corn flavor. Goes great with a lime. If only I had a lime.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you put a lime in there? Come on, man.
Sorry, I'm not that bougie, man. Only when I'm out at restaurants I get a lime, or at a bar, you know. That is a good, light, crisp beer.
Nice. Well, today I have Flocktoberfest Lager from Black Raven Brewing. It is a German Marzen-style clean, balanced lager. Perfect for a summer or a fall treat. I've never had this before, but I'm very excited.
Okay, well, let us know how it is.
Ooh. Yeah, that is very crisp lager. Hints of, I would say, yeah, toasty malts in there, a little bit of caramel. It's got a lot of flavor for a nice light lager, so I would go 7.5 out of 10.
I would give this a 7 out of 10.
So some okay, pretty good lagers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Without further ado, on to the news. UEFA has announced they will readmit Russian junior teams to international events. Sports investment firm Dynasty Equity have bought a minority stake in Liverpool. Owners Fenway Sports Group said last Thursday. They're a British media firm, I think. Never mind. Anyways, they spent $100 to $200 million on minority stake in Liverpool.
Yep, pretty much Liverpool. They're going to use that money to pay down some of their debt from COVID. They're doing some stadium expenses to enhance Anfield, expenses in their new training facility, repurposing their old Melwood training ground, and, of course, some good old summer transfers. That's what that money's going to be going for.
They did spend quite a bit of money last summer, so they're definitely going to be looking to spend more of that this coming summer. Barcelona have been charged with suspected bribery for payments worth more than 7 million euros made to companies linked to former Vice President of Refereeing Committee Jose Maria Enriquez Negrera. Apparently, it's official, not just suspected.
It's official now. They're officially cheaters. Is that what?
Yeah. Fun times. Former Former Barcelona presidents Josep Maria Bartomeu and Sandro Rosell have, they're accused of the same charges, as do Negreira and his son Javier Enriquez Romero. So
I gotta ask you. So Barcelona, they got basically getting caught cheating here.
mm-hmm.
Would you say a lot of these big successful clubs cheat in known ways, but Barca are the only ones that have gotten caught?
Um,
Do you think Real Madrid probably cheats in some way? They're just not getting caught. I mean, we know the ongoing issues with Manchester City and their financial cheating, we could call.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I would say yeah, probably. I'm sure a lot of them have cooked their books in one way or another just to be able to spend more money. But I think bribery is especially with referees.
I mean, we've seen Juve. They've got caught
big
cheating.
Thing in Italy. Yeah. I mean, Juve got caught and they got relegated, 2 divisions pretty much?
Yep, and last season they got their points deducted, and now they're out of European competitions for a year. And
so
do all these teams just kind of cheat? They just cheat in different ways, maybe, and some just get caught. Some are better at doing it than others.
Yeah, that is a great question. I would think that, the big teams, like I guess in Spain, right, because there's really only 2 teams that can afford it to cheat constantly because of their income. England, I don't really think so, but I mean, we'll get into that a little later because of VAR and that whole debacle. Yeah, Juve's been caught. I don't think that maybe Bayern Munich does it too. I don't know. You just think of all these teams that have dominated leagues for so long. There has to be something. And Barcelona, yeah, you're right. They're the one to get caught, them and Juve. So,
but I think you're right. It's more has to do with their financial aspect of.
Yeah. So once teams kind of go outside that form of cheating, as far as doctoring their books, then that's where they are more likely to get caught, I guess. And bribery of officials is kind of the worst way to do it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I can't believe that they don't even need to do that. I don't understand.
We'll see what the fallout is of this.
Yeah, we'll see. And I've heard mentions of teams getting their getting Champions League trophies and stuff like that. So
I know you're speaking about Arsenal. That talks about them getting that Champions. Was that 2007 or 6 or whatever it was?
Yeah, 2006, I believe. But it'll be interesting to see what the fallout is. All right, on to some injury woes. Manchester United's Lisandro Martinez will be out 2 months after a broken metatarsal in his foot. Same one that kept him out last April for the end of the season.
They're going to miss him.
They're going to miss him big time. They're already pretty thin at that center back position. So
and left back.
Chelsea. Ben Chilwell. He's out with a bad hamstring injury sustained in their Carabao Cup win over Brighton. Apparently, he is going to be out for a while. U.S. international and Bournemouth midfielder Tyler Adams is injured again.
Yeah, I did hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Long term too. It looks like.
Yeah, retore his hamstring. That
the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
That game.
His first game back from injury, and it's that same injury that has kept him out all season so far. So. And last but not least, a moment of pure terror in an Eredivisie match between Ajax and RKC Walwick, as the RKC goaltender, Etienne Vassin, was knocked unconscious after a collision with Ajax forward Brian Brobby. Man, it was a horror incident. I don't know if
I haven't seen this, so I'll have to check it out.
So they collided, and he hit the ground completely limp. All the players around him freaking out, asking for medical officials to come on the field immediately. They had to put screens up around him. He was unconscious for something around 10 minutes.
So kind of similar to the Christian Eriksen scenario at the Euros.
Yeah. Luckily, it wasn't his heart. It was just a really, really bad concussion. Apparently, he is in the hospital, awake and well. He didn't know where he was after regaining consciousness on the field, but luckily everything is okay. So our prayers go out to him. All right, on to the action, Targo. Champions League Matchday 2.
Coming up, man. Coming up.
Music hitting those ears, giving you the goosebumps. We are here with some more Champions League action. So on October 3rd, we kick it off with Union Berlin against Braga.
Union Berlin, man, their first Champions League game in their home stadium.
Very excited.
That will be a fun one. They're coming off that loss to Real Madrid, which is a hard-fought game. I thought they almost deserved something. So I think they'll get a result here against Braga.
Yeah, I felt bad for them to, not get something out of that match against Real Madrid. But getting their first ever Champions League win in their first ever home match will be quite the scene, and I'm looking forward to seeing it happen. I picked Union as well. Next, RB Salzburg, your surprise team. Not really surprised. You said you should watch for them because they're good. I play Real Sociedad. Salzburg looking like they could stay atop the group. What do you think is going to happen in this one?
Sociedad also looked good, as you might recall that game against Inter Milan. So I'm going to go for a draw on this one.
Okay. I'm not going to underestimate RB Salzburg again, and I'm going to go with a draw as well because, you were right. All right, next up, we got Inter coming off of their first loss of the season. And then Benfica, who are high-flying after a derby win against Porto.
How are Inter coming off their first loss of the season?
They had their first loss of the season in the league.
Oh, a couple weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Not this weekend.
So, both of these massive squads are looking to bounce back after disappointing matchday 1 in the Champions League. Regardless, this one is at the San Siro, Targo.
Going Inter.
Inter, yeah. Benfica looked poor this season. They scraped by against Porto. I'm going to go Inter as well. Next up, PSV and Sevilla. PSV looking to gain some ground in the group as both teams looking to gain some ground in the group. And last year's Europa League champs looking to get their first Champions League win this season in Eindhoven. Will they get it?
PSV, I don't know, man. They're coming off in the Champions League that loss to Arsenal, and Sevilla, they drew longs in the Champions League, coming off a loss to Barcelona. I will say PSV did not impress me when I watched them in the Champions League.
No, Arsenal kind of ran over them. So
they did. I'm going to go for a draw.
All right. I think if we go off last year, Sevilla's away form was absolutely atrocious. And PSV at home are a lot different than PSV away. So I think I'm going to go with the PSV win in this one.
I think it's going to be a draw or Sevilla win.
Well, after my showing of picks this week, I'm going to have to go a little bold and outside the box. So
Okay.
All right, next up, Law against Arsenal. Gunners look to build off their hot start on matchday 1 as they travel to France with a beat-up squad. Can Law capitalize on a weekend Arsenal team, or will Arsenal have another convincing victory in France?
I think Arsenal will have another convincing victory in France. They spanked PSV. They're coming off a big win against Bournemouth at the weekend. So, yeah, I'm going Arsenal. Honestly, the way they play, they look like one of the favorites this year.
Yeah.
I would say one of the top 5 teams, top 4 teams.
Yeah, I think they were 4th favorites behind Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, and City. So I think you're right there. And Arsenal this season, especially on the road, and they've had a shutout in their last 4 away games. So clean sheet. I think they'll get a clean sheet in this one and probably win pretty convincingly. Hopefully, Gabriel Jesus and Eddie Nketiah can get some goals because they desperately need it. And maybe, another Kai Havertz goal. Would love to see that too. I know you're picking Arsenal, so I'm not even going to ask.
That would be correct.
Yeah. Next up, we got Copenhagen against Bayern Munich. Copenhagen surprising everybody against Galatasaray last time out. I mean, they probably should have won that match, except for 2 late golazos from Galatasaray.
And a red card.
And a red card, yeah. Can they take down the behemoth from Bavaria as Bayern look to continue their dominance in the group stage?
The behemoth from Bavaria. I love it.
You're welcome.
No, I don't think they will take down the behemoth from Bavaria.
I don't either. I don't think this will be even close.
I think Copenhagen could threaten on the counter because, I mean, that Bayern Munich team, yes, they had completely outplayed Manchester United, but somehow still conceded.
Goals, yeah, their defense is looking a little suspect of late.
It is a little sus.
And we'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, I got to go with Bayern in this one too. So next up, Manchester United, or I should say a lackluster Manchester United team, plays Galatasaray. Could United get their first points in the Champions League this season, or will Galatasaray pretty much rain on their parade? And they seemingly score goals on command.
Here's my conundrum. I picked, at the beginning, Manchester United to finish second in this group.
Mm-hmm.
Having watched them the past couple weeks, I think Galatasaray could win this game, if I'm being honest. The way Manchester United have been played, but...
Well, I did pick Galatasaray to finish second in the group, and I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to change my pick. I had it down as a draw originally. I'm going to go with the Gala win.
I want to say Gala win, but for my pick's sake, I'll say Manchester United Gala draw.
Okay. All right. Next up, one to watch as we have Napoli taking on Real Madrid. Can Victor Osimhen and Kvardana get the best of a battered Real Madrid defense?
Dude, their defense is struggling.
Yeah.
So many injuries, and then Nacho got a red card at the weekend, so in La Liga, he won't be able to play. But they got Vinny Jr. back, they got Rodrigo, they got Jude Bellingham, who is a freaking stud.
Yeah. That that ball he played on the weekend to, was it Joselu?
Yeah, that his assist.
Mm-hmm. It was a thing of beauty.
So I'm going Real Madrid.
I think Napoli have enough to keep this one interesting, and I'm going to go with the draw in this one. All right, next up, and a low-key one to watch, I think. Atletico Madrid against Feyenoord. Can this free-flowing Feyenoord offense break through this Atleti defense that seemingly always shuts up shop when playing at home?
Why is this one to watch?
Because Feyenoord is very exciting, and Atleti is
not.
Yeah, pretty much.
I would say no.
I think this one is one to watch mostly because of the implications it might have for the group, right? If Atleti win, they probably will top the group, but if Feyenoord can pull off an upset, it will make the group very interesting.
And I think they very well could. They do have a very free-flowing attack, but man, that Atletico Madrid team just is tough.
So good. They're so good.
They beat Real Madrid a couple weeks ago. They won here at the weekend. They honestly should have won against Lazio, except for a 94th minute header from Lazio's goalkeeper. I'm going to go a draw.
Okay. I think Atleti playing at home, they're going to score 1 goal and close up shop. I think they win 1-0.
I don't know, man. In La Liga, they haven't been keeping clean sheets. They conceded to Cadiz. They conceded to Real Madrid. They conceded to... Who'd they play after that? They lost 3-0 to Valencia before that.
One. I think that was more of just a fluke.
And so their last clean sheet was to Rayo Vallecano, match week 3.
I was going to say, it's like match week 1 or 2, isn't it? But they can score goals, as we saw against Real Madrid.
I think it could be a 1-1, is my guess.
Well, it will still make for a very entertaining match, I think. Next up, we got Antwerp and Shakhtar Donetsk. Can Shakhtar get their Champions League journey started with an all-important 3 points in Belgium?
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the way Antwerp looked against Barcelona match week 1, man, they're going to struggle a lot in this Champions League, I think. And I think Shakhtar will have enough to get the better of them.
Yeah, I think they will. I'm going Shakhtar.
Yeah. Next up, another match to watch. Celtic against Lazio. Can Celtic provide yet another upset in the Champions League? Or will the Romans prove that they belong in this competition with a win in Glasgow?
So this is another one where in my head, I think Lazio should win or draw this game. But because I think I picked Celtic to make it out into the Europa League.
Yeah.
Did I say second? I can't remember.
So. Yeah.
I know I had them not finishing last.
Yes.
And so I have to say Celtic, man. They need 3 points.
I'm going to go Lazio in this one. I think they've got a very wishy-washy start of the season. But tying against Atletico in Spain, I think it was. Or were they at home? I don't know. Either way, it was a big, hard-fought point for them. I think they'll be able to.
They were at home.
Yeah, okay. Well, I still think they'll be able to top Celtic away from home, but we'll see on that one. Next up, one probably not to watch. Red Star Belgrade against Young Boys. The race for the Europa League is essentially starting here for these two sides. Who's going to get the 3 points?
I don't know, man. I don't really care, being honest.
I was laughing so hard at your notes on this one. Does anyone care?
Not me. I don't know. Flip a coin. I think I have draw down.
Yeah.
No, stick with it.
All right. I think Red Star kind of surprised me against Manchester City.
They came in flying and scored first. Mm-hmm. Then that was their only shot on goal.
Yeah. So, them playing at home, I think I'll give them the 3 points, but honestly, I don't really care either. So, let's be completely honest. The one we do care about, though, is the next match, which is RB Leipzig against Manchester City. Can Leipzig provide another upset against the Champions League favorites, or will Manchester City pull off the victory?
They did last season in, what was it, the round of 16?
Yeah.
Wiped the floor with them in Manchester.
Yes.
I'm going to go City.
Yeah. Because Rodri is actually playing, I think I'll have to go City as well. When he's not in that team, they are completely different, I will say. And we'll get into that a little bit later.
We will get into that, yeah.
He will be playing, so I go with City as well. Another one to watch as we get into the group of death. Borussia Dortmund against AC Milan. And this Dortmund side has not been good this season. This Milan side, the complete opposite. So, Milan going to the yellow wall. Will they get the 3 points and triumph in the group of death?
So the past 3 weeks in the Bundesliga, Dortmund have finally come to life. They've won their past 3 games after a couple draws. And then, we saw them lose to PSG.
Uh-huh.
But they still just, I don't know, man. There's something missing from them. That spark, you know what I mean? That spark was Jude Bellingham, and he left. Versus AC Milan, watching them at the weekend, they got plenty of sparks there on that team. Rafael Leao, Theo Hernandez, Christian Pulisic. I will say I like I think he's Dutch, their new midfielder. Tejani Reindeers.
Yeah.
Reindeers.
Reindeer.
Probably butchered that, but
no,
he's fun to watch as well.
Yeah, no, Lang's doing pretty good too, so good. Fun to watch those guys in there. Pulisic has been on fire, man. And I think he probably comes in and gets a goal against his former side. So
we'll see. last Champions League game, I think it was Chukwueze started.
Yeah.
On the right side there. So yeah,
he was
Pulisic
very
might come in.
impressive
Yeah.
as well. So we'll see. But I'm going with Milan in this one.
Same.
Yeah. Next up, and probably the one that will have us all glued to the TV, Newcastle.
Yes, sir.
As Newcastle welcome Paris Saint-Germain. To St.
Kind of like you said,
Park.
your mom. Paris Saint-Germain.
Oh my God, you're ridiculous. Will this impenetrable Newcastle defense be able to stifle this PSG attacking juggernaut?
That is an attacking juggernaut.
Yeah.
And that Newcastle defense is very penetrable. We have seen this season.
Yeah. They've looked good for the last couple of weeks, though. So
I think Newcastle, though, will be flying for this game, man. It is in Tyneside. St. James's Park will be rocking. Having said that, I'm going to go with a draw.
I agree with you. This one, Newcastle's going to be flying. It's going to be loud. It's going to be crazy. Tyneside is going to be nuts. But PSG's attack is just too damn good.
I need to see, did Kylian Mbappe play this weekend? I didn't watch Paris Saint-Germain at all.
It's a great question.
Let me look real quick.
If he plays or if he doesn't, it's not going to change my opinion. I still think PSG are going to win this game.
He did play.
Okay. Well, then I'm definitely sticking with my pick. So, yeah, PSG for the win.
That attack, man, is just so good.
So good. All right. And then last but not least, we got the two group favorites as Barcelona and Porto square off to see who will finish top the group.
Group H favorites, yeah. Gotta go Barca.
Yep, especially at home. And they just look so good. Even if you shut them down, they still find a way to answer. And Yamin Lamal, I think it is.
Lamine Yamal.
I'm very excited to watch him again because God is he exciting. So yes, Barcelona all the way. All right, now on to match week 7 in the English Premier League, which was nothing short of absolutely surprising, stunning, drama-filled. Let's get into it. Lots of controversy. And we'll start right in the thick of it with Aston Villa and Brighton. Villa turned the tables on Brighton as they put in a performance of the season to thrash the Seagulls. 6-1.
6-1, man.
6-1. Holy crap.
Before this game, if I would have told you, there's going to be 7 goals in this game.
I'll answer this before you even ask it, and it would be probably 6-1 to Brighton. Not the other way around. Holy shit. Oh, man. And Villa on the counterattack. They're looking like a top 5 team, if I might be honest.
They look pretty good. They looked very good in this game. They popped in 3 goals in the first half. Ollie Watkins had a hat trick. Halftime came around. Roberto De Zerbi made 3 changes. Brought off Welbeck, brought off Ferguson. Well, he brought off Estupinian, put on Tariq Lamptey, put on João Pedro, put on Ansu Fati, and they looked good for the first 10 minutes of that second half. That's where they got their 1 goal, Ansu Fati. And then Villa scored 3 more. Yeah. Jacob Ramsey had a very nice finish.
What a finish that was, yeah. Ollie Watkins was so good in this game. He probably could have had more than 3, but couldn't take his chances.
Yeah, the goal Douglas Luiz scored. Ollie Watkins should have finished. But yeah, they
1-on-1 with the keeper. Ball gets saved, goes straight back to Douglas Luiz, who essentially passed it into the net.
I know we both picked Brighton to win this game, man, but we should not have. History was not on Brighton's side. They have not won at Villa Park. Brighton, they won their last 3 games. They have not won 4 in a row. This was their 4th, and they lost it.
Yeah.
And just a lot of players did not look good. Like in that first half, the players Roberto De Zerbi brought off did not look good. Evan
No.
Ferguson, Welbeck, Estupinian especially.
Yeah, I felt so bad for him because there's nothing he could have done with that own goal either.
No, it was harsh, but he was just letting those defenders in, man. He was not positioned correctly at all.
Yeah, but I will give credit to Villa. They did learn well from West Ham, sitting in that low block, countering Brighton all game. And it seemed like every time they countered, they were going to score. Like, that's what it looked like.
Yeah, they did. I mean, just Brighton were not on their game. You know, they're that slick, quick passing.
Mm-hmm.
They were giving the ball away too much.
Yeah.
Villa were pressing them in the right times, making that field small. They had a high back line, and they punished them. Unai Emery got his tactics 100% spot on for that game.
Yes, he did. Speaking of tactics, spot on. We had Arsenal and Bournemouth. As although Bournemouth played well at times, Arsenal ran them over 4-0 in this one. Before the game even started, they were handed a huge boost as Bukayo Saka and Declan Rice both returned to the starting lineup. And they didn't have to wait very long as a wonderful Gabriel Jesus header hit the crossbar, fell right to Bukayo Saka. Heads it in.
Right place, right time. It was also fantastic build-up play that Saka was involved in, and great instincts to get into the box.
Yeah. Eddie Nketiah was brought down in the box. Penalty for you.
Clear pen.
Yeah. Odegaard steps up and scores it. And then number 3, we finally got it, Targo. It only took 7 games, or 8 games, maybe 9 games. But Kai Havertz finally got a goal. It's a great gesture by Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard to give him the penalty for the second one. And then I want to say the Arsenal fans in the away end, the whole game, holy crap, were they loud.
They were, man. I loved the song that came up with Havertz after he scored.
And then they chanted it for like 30 minutes.
Hilarious and fantastic. Yeah. I want your thoughts, though. Also, which goalie started this game?
It was David Raya, yes.
You owe me a beer.
I do.
But also, what are your thoughts on Odegaard and Saka? Because at that point, it's 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
Game's still very much open. They're away from home, and they let Havertz take that penalty. Are you okay with that, or do you think they should be a little bit more ruthless and let their starting guy take that penalty?
I'm okay with it.
Similar to kind of when Haaland let Gundogan take that penalty that he missed.
Yeah. I mean, there's always some sort of risk in it, right? It's a penalty kick. There's always going to be some sort of risk that it could be saved or you could miss it, especially giving the ball to a guy who is completely out of confidence. So
I understand that's why they did it, was to get him a goal, boost his confidence. But I guess, you and I have both been playing for a while. Does a PK really give you confidence when you score it?
I mean, if it's, like your first goal for a club, finally getting the weight off your back, it can only help, right? It's not going to make it any worse unless you miss.
You're not wrong. What if he misses it?
Yeah.
Then it makes it a lot worse.
That makes everything worse. But, I mean, he looked very, very confident stepping up to it. I'm okay with it. I think at that point, Arsenal were absolutely dominating Bournemouth. And it probably could have been 6-7-0 instead of 4.
I don't know, man. It's a risk. Obviously, it's great to see it. He scored it, and you look back at it now. But at the time, it's a risk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a big one, too.
Well, yeah, especially if it gets saved, right? And then Bournemouth get all this momentum that they didn't have, and they have a chance if they get a goal. I mean, 2-0 leading to 2-1 is probably the most dangerous scoreline in all of football. So, yeah, it could have gone horribly wrong, but luckily for Arsenal, it did not.
So you're okay with it, though?
I'm okay with it in a match that was being played the way it was, right? Like, Arsenal were absolutely dominating. Bournemouth looked terrible.
So for you, the context matters?
Yes. Yeah, I think that's more important than having your, penalty kick taker that always takes the kicks go up there. So
I think if I'm a coach, though, man, I want my number one taking that. Because,
Yeah.
like you said, 2-0 is one of the most dangerous score lines to have. I'd want my number one guy, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that, especially if you think from, the way Arteta thinks, and he might be one of the most ruthless people in all of football. You can just look at the whole Aaron Ramsdale situation that I owe you a beer because of. But yeah, I mean, it's water under the bridge at this point, I would say.
It is, but I just wanted to bring it up, get your thoughts on it.
I will say Declan Rice in this match, especially coming from a place where we didn't even think he was going to travel with the team or even play after his back spasms last week. He absolutely bossed this game. Like, he was everywhere. Any guy that ran past him with the ball no longer had the ball anymore. He was everywhere. I just want to say 100 mil looks like a steal for this man. I'm just saying.
Also, could be same about Bukayo Saka and his durability.
Yeah, I mean, there was worrying signs as he, got subbed off looking, in pain, limping off the field. But yeah, I mean, Bukayo Saka, I was looking at his stats compared to last season. Every single one of them is better. Like, everyone. And
Starboy for you, man.
Yeah. He looks like one of the best wingers in the world, let alone the Premier League. At this point. All right, next up, Luton won a game.
Historic news.
Everton and Luton ended 2-1 to the Lutes as they beat a haphazard Everton side for their first ever win in the Premier League. So, congrats to them. I will put that out there. Everton,
yeah, I mean, Everton were shit, man. I don't know what else to say about them. Their defense was shit. I mean, Ashley Young went to clear a ball and then couldn't clear it, I couldn't tell. It looked like he kicked it into the defender and it went into his net. The second goal was off a free kick. Terrible marking. I mean,
terrible marking.
Everton got one back through Dominic Calvert-Lewin at the end of the first half there, but
it should have been a goal by Doucouré, but he couldn't finish
it. But I mean, what is going on?
Brings up your point from the last episode, man. It's Doucouré is either a world-class player or he's trash.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
So I don't know, man. This Everton team
too, man, as a whole. They beat Brentford. I think they beat Villa in the Carabao Cup during the week. And then they get Luton at home and they fucking lose? Like,
I don't get it. And their defending was just so suspect in this game.
Oh, it was terrible, man.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I will say, though, good job, Luton. You're out of the relegation zone, which I had them staying up. So the league ended right now.
Maybe this is the start of something good. Or maybe it's
probably
the start of nothing. But they now are a point clear of the relegation zone. Game in hand is against Burnley on, that would be today, wouldn't it? October 3rd. We'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of suspect defending, Manchester United against Crystal Palace. And before I even get into this, I can't believe I changed my pick. I had Crystal Palace winning. I changed to United.
You did. Damn. You know what's funny? As I was thinking about this after we had put out the last episode, and I was thinking, when two teams play each other twice within a week, it's usually not the same result.
Yeah.
And United had won previous in the Carabao Cup. Honestly, I probably wouldn't have said Crystal Palace would have won. I probably would have said a draw or something. But I had a feeling Palace would get points. And I don't know why. We'd already recorded, but I said United as well. And obviously they lost. 1-0, Crystal Palace. Fantastic goal, though, from, I think it's Joachim Anderson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what a volley that was. Holy cow.
But what's going on with United, man?
I don't know. Their defense is unorganized. It's beat up. It's hurt. I mean, the two guys they got starting, I guess Varane was back from injury, but him and, was it Lindelof that started? Lindelof looks suspect. Varane is not the same player he was at Real Madrid.
Not at all the same player he was at Real Madrid.
Yeah, you say the same thing about Casemiro. I mean, he had quite a few chances to score in this match and probably should have put one away, but
honestly, he didn't even look like a defensive midfielder.
No, he looks more like an attacking midfielder, like number 10.
I think he got Sofran Amrabat playing left back, an inverted left back though, but
yeah,
still.
Is this a United side that's maybe trying to do too much?
I don't know, man. Honestly, it just looks like the players aren't up for it, if I'm being honest. Like Rashford last season was spectacular. This season,
he's got the same number of goals as Kai Havertz in the league this season. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Does he really?
Yeah, he's been absolutely poor, and his only goal is against Arsenal.
No, I can't. I gotta look this up. Hold on, that can't be it. Nope, you're right.
Wow.
1 goal, 1 assist in 7 matches. Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. This United team is, I think, especially with this new inverted left back that Ten Hag has never done before, I just think he's more just trying to go with the times where the inverted left back or inverted outside back is starting to be a thing, but I just think it puts them under too much pressure, especially on defense.
Well, I kind of want to take you on a journey here. So last year, Manchester United, they finished 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Ten Hag looks like a master of class. They won the Carabao Cup. He handled that Cristiano Ronaldo situation well. The summer comes, they spend, I don't know how many millions, but they get Andre Onana, Mason Mount, Rasmus Højlund. I think I'm forgetting one more. But anyway, they get those players, and you would think they would be better than last year. They'd be playing better than last year. You know, that hopefully you'd get the same kind of production from Rashford, from Casemiro, from Lisandro Martinez, who is now out injured. And so injuries have hampered them, but you still think this United team should be performing better than what they are.
100%.
With the players they have on the field.
Yeah, 100%. On paper, there's no way they should be this bad. I mean, you think of all of the off-the-field problems as well. You know, Ten Hag handled the Ronaldo situation so well, but when it comes to the Jadon Sancho situation, the Antony situation, like there's so much stuff going on, and it's just like, what is going on behind the scenes that is really going to make it this bad right now? Like, what is the difference between last year and this year? I don't understand.
I mean, they've had a lot of controversy, like you said, the Antony, the Jadon Sancho, even the Mason Greenwood.
Yeah.
The selling of the club going on, like it looks like that's not going to happen now. So I mean, there have been a lot of, I guess you could call it off-field distractions, but you still have the players on the field should be performing better than what they are at Manchester United. They're sitting 10th place in the Premier League right now, which is completely unacceptable for a club like Manchester United.
100%. And, yeah, I mean, they're looking closer to Chelsea than they are to Manchester United right now.
I think it's coming down to the players. There's no real leadership. Bruno Fernandes is their captain. He's not a captain, man.
No. Especially you watch his on-the-field antics. And yes, he's a phenomenal player, but his attitude and his antics are, don't set the right example as a captain.
No, they don't.
But, I mean, yeah, that squad is too good to be this bad. And we know they can perform well, but you would think that they would be performing much, much better, like you said, than they are right now. So I don't really know what the hell is going on.
Yeah, 3 wins, 4 draws.
Yeah.
Or not 4 draws, 4 losses.
4 losses, 0 draws.
So, I mean, they went and got their striker. They went and got their goalkeeper. They strengthened that midfield, and they look worse this year than they did last year.
Well, yeah, and you think about their 3 wins as well. 2 of them probably should have been losses.
Oh yeah, I mean the win against Wolves shouldn't have been a win. They probably should have drew that.
Yeah.
Even that game against Burnley where they won, it took a world-class volley from Bruno Fernandes, but they got outplayed by Burnley.
Yeah. 100%. So,
and then it took a fantastic comeback against Nottingham Forest for them to win that game.
Yeah, in a game they shouldn't have won either.
So troubling times at Manchester United.
I will say 7th place pick is not far off at this point.
I think I picked them 3rd.
Yeah. But we also picked Chelsea in the top 4, so, that provides a little bit of comedic relief at least. All right, next up we had Newcastle against lowly Burnley. And after scoring 8 goals in their last Premier League match, they beat City midweek. This is Newcastle, obviously. They put in another solid performance, and Burnley, yet again, looked poor.
Yeah, Miguel Almiron, man, had a golazo in this game, man. Top bins where the spider makes its web, all those beautiful descriptive words.
Mm-hmm.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, tough schedule for Burnley continues. However, they haven't been doing themselves any favors. Like you said last episode, they need to figure out how to play more on the counterattack instead of dominating possession because it doesn't work, clearly.
They can't do it.
Yeah. Miguel Almiron, I will say, with a golazo. What a peach of a goal in the 14th minute. Poor giveaway by Burnley. Dribbles past a couple players. Put it right where the spiders lay their eggs.
Yeah, and then the second goal, Anthony Gordon got fouled in the box. PK, Isak converts it.
Yep. Yeah. Newcastle are looking good after, a rough start to the season, and I think they've definitely turned it around. They're all the way up to 8th now. Kind of the opposite of United, where United, was looking poor the whole beginning of the season. Newcastle just had a tough schedule. I mean, they've lost to...
They did.
They lost to who?
So
City, Brighton, and
Liverpool.
So, yeah. So they're looking like after that patch of the schedule that they could go on a run for quite some time, but we'll see against PSG midweek.
Yes.
Should be interesting.
That'll be a fun one.
Next up, West Ham and Sheffield United. Jared Bowen. Man, is he on form right now.
He is on fire right now, man. He
looks so good. Getting the first goal in this match, and Thomas Suchek with the second. No goals again for Sheffield United. They've conceded 12 goals in 3 games and only scoring 1.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Are Sheffield United the worst team to ever play in the Premier League?
Well, at the moment, that title would be Derby County, as in 07-08. They had 11 points and 20 goals scored.
At this rate, though...
At this rate, Sheffield United are going to...
They got 1 point.
Yeah, and they're going to... Let's see, we got 1 goal for 7 matches for a whole season.
That would be 6 points. 7 points.
7 points. I was thinking more goals scored, because if it's
their goals scored would probably be more. Yeah,
1 goal at... Well, it wouldn't even be 20, which is the number of goals.
No,
Derby
I think
County
it'd be 25, because they've got goals for... They got 5.
Yeah. But 19 against. I can't see them getting any better. Yeah.
Then, having said that, Burnley have 1 less goal for.
Yeah. And have played 1 game less.
And there's a big one coming up, Burnley and Luton, which we'll get into. But is this Sheffield team going to be the worst team in the Premier League ever?
I think they'll definitely give Derby County a run for their money. I think it's going to be the games against Luton and Burnley, I think maybe Bournemouth as well, that will make or break their season and will decide if they are the worst team in the Premier League history.
It's kind of almost decided, we already think they're getting relegated, but are they going to be the worst team to get relegated at this point?
New heights at this point, or lows, I should say.
I guess that's where we're at now with Sheffield United.
Yeah. And I mean, we talked about it before. These newly promoted teams are just, I don't know if it's the money of staying in the Premier League versus being newly promoted, but there just seems to be a gulf in between the newly promoted teams and the rest of the teams in the Premier League.
Yeah. Yes, there is. Especially with Sheffield. It didn't help, man. They went and sold their best player to Marseille, their star striker.
Yeah.
Stupid.
And then their best midfielder to their relegation rivals. So.
Yep.
Doesn't help.
Stupid.
Stupid. All right. On to Wolverhampton Wanderers and Manchester City. Yeah, Wolves beat the champions, man. What the hell? Where'd this come from?
What?
Yeah.
Wolves?
Yeah, with Pep in the stands, City lose their first match of the season ahead of a massive week for them as Wolves take a bite out of their title charge, man. I couldn't make this up.
A bite out of the title
Couldn't
charge.
make it
I
up.
love it. The Wolves.
The Wolves.
So, yeah, they lost to Newcastle midweek.
I did not see this coming.
Oh, who saw this? No one saw this coming, man.
Yeah.
I think it helps not having Rodri, Bernardo Silva, and Kevin De Bruyne in your lineup.
Yeah.
Erling Haaland definitely looked starved for service.
Mm-hmm.
Probably only had a handful of touches. Matheus Nunes made the start against his old club and got subbed off at halftime.
He did not look
and Calvin
good.
Phillips came on. So that tells you something right there.
Yeah, it does.
They did not play well.
Yeah.
Pedro Neto, on the other hand, played really well.
Yeah.
Matheus Cunha played really well.
Very well. Yeah, probably the performances of their lives up to this point. Was it Hwang Hee-chan with another performance? I don't understand how he doesn't start every damn game for Wolves. I don't get it. The City defense looked lackluster. They didn't really create a whole lot of really good chances. I mean, Julian Alvarez had a peach of a free kick. But other than that, man, this City team looked flat and uninspired.
I think it's Rodri missing.
Well,
if I'm being 100% honest with you.
Huge week coming up as they play Leipzig in Germany and then go to Arsenal next weekend without Rodri. If they play like this, they're gonna lose like 4-5-0 the way Arsenal are playing.
I don't know about that. They played Bournemouth, man. Don't get out of hand here. Don't forget they
drew
Tottenham.
I was more commenting on how badly City looked than how good Arsenal is right now.
I would say Arsenal last season looked better.
They're 1 point off where they were last season.
So they were better.
They've scored more goals, I think, up to this point. You're right. Arsenal don't look as good as last season. But City look way off where they were last season as well.
They do. And again, missing Rodri, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, any team would not look as good. But you're not wrong. They cannot perform like this and expect to get that fourth title. Yeah.
I know. It seems like, a couple of days ago we were saying, is it inevitable that they get the quadruple? And now, lost midweek out of the Carabao Cup.
Out of the quadruple, no longer invincible. No invincible season for them. So, yeah.
Yeah. Next up, Nottingham Forest and Brentford. And man, was this one eventful. It was definitely not boring. This one ended 1-1. It honestly, Forest had to scrap a point out of this one, and Brentford probably could feel hard done about only coming away with the point.
So this is a weird game because I feel like Forest started out the better team, and Brentford slowly grew into the game, and were probably the better team by halftime. Then the second half rolled around, and that's when stuff started to happen. Forest, they got a red card. What's his name? Musa Niakate got a red card. Or it was a second yellow. Studs down the back of the guy's calf, Achilles area. That would have hurt.
Yeah. And then Brentford immediately got a goal from
Off that free kick from that foul. Yep.
Yeah.
Forrest makes some changes. Morgan Gibbs-White comes on. He looked a little bright. Looked like Forrest's best creator. And they got a goal, man. Kind of a funny looking header. Goalkeeper, I think, could have done better.
I agree.
But Flecken, I think if I'm not, is it Flecken?
Yeah, it almost looked like he pulled
his hand away.
Yeah,
like he thought it was going to go over.
And went like that. I'm like, what? Like, if you think it has even a chance of going in, what is the harm of just palming it over the top? So, yeah, it was a questionable decision for me. But, I mean, both goalkeepers looked questionable in this match.
Matt Turner did, yes.
Yeah.
He came out flying a couple of times. Honestly, I think should have been a PK against Visa.
Yeah.
He had the ball and he went to go clear it, and Visa came in and poked it away, and he kicked Visa. Credit to him. He stayed on his feet and was trying to get the goal, but I think if he rolled around, claiming the whole hurt thing.
Yeah.
JR looked at it, said there wasn't enough in it, but
I've seen penalties given for less, and I think the only reason it wasn't given is because it was Matt Turner, because it was a goalkeeper.
But that shouldn't be a thing.
He was already in the action of kicking the ball. It shouldn't.
Doesn't matter.
I know. I agree. It should not be a thing. But I think that is the reasoning behind it.
It's a dumb reason.
VAR has been suspect all season.
When you miss the ball and kick a player, that's a foul.
Yeah. Anywhere on the pitch.
Except for apparently the goalkeeper.
Except for apparently a goalie. Yeah, I don't know.
That's your referees at work.
Yeah. So, I don't know what the English the whole FA is even paying for with these referees. Because they're not doing their job. Especially the ones assigned to VAR. But we'll get more into that later. Good job picking a draw on this one. Although, Forrest probably didn't deserve anything out of that one. Okay. We have a midweek Premier League matchup coming up, as we've alluded to a couple of times. Luton playing at home against Burnley in what could be, if Luton win this match, could pretty much doom Burnley.
I wouldn't doom them yet.
But yeah, I mean, both these teams look terrible. Everton looked even worse this weekend. I mean, with that 11-point total from Derby looming, which of these teams do you think has a chance of setting the new record besides Sheffield United? Because I know that's your answer.
I would have said Luton, but they just beat Everton, man.
Yeah.
Both of us, neither of us thought Burnley would be this bad.
No, I didn't think so at all.
We thought they'd be a 15th, 16th, 12th. I think you have them at 12th or something, if I'm not mistaken, at the beginning of the season.
Pretty high, yeah.
But they don't look good, man.
No.
They don't. They're trying to go toe-to-toe, play that total beautiful football, and they don't have the players for it.
Yeah. Well, especially against Premier League opposition. Again, Championship, you probably get away with it, as they did last season. An absolutely dominated team. But you can't do that in the Premier League because you're playing the best players in the world.
And honestly, Vincent Kompany, he's got to show that he's a top-class manager. Being a good player does not equal a good manager. We've seen that with Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's going up against the best minds in the world. And they will figure a team out and figure out how to beat you.
Yeah.
And so he needs to adapt. And quick.
And because of that, do you think he will adapt for this match?
I don't think he will for this match because it's Luton. You know, the way they played last year, they should beat Luton.
Mm-hmm.
By all rights.
Yeah, I agree.
And so I'll pick them to win, but I mean, Luton are out of the relegation zone and Burnley aren't.
Yeah, and Burnley have not looked good at all, especially going forward and scoring goals. I mean, they're going to have a hard time not replicating Sheffield United and what they've been doing this season.
I mean, Luton, they're 1 point behind Chelsea.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Throwing that out there.
Just saying.
At
Chelsea
the time of this recording, they're 1
2
point
points
behind
off
Chelsea.
the relegation zone. Just saying. I'm going to go for a draw in this match. I just think
Okay.
I think Luton Town are much more improved this season with their new signings. They're starting to piece it together. Granted, I know beating a lackluster Everton team is not really going to, win you any sort of accolades, but it's huge 3 points to finally get that off their back. I just think Burnley's that bad. I do.
You think they're that bad, huh?
I think this one probably ends a 1-1 draw.
A 1-1 draw, okay.
All right, Targo. On to our Fab 5. Our 5 best matches to watch this week. And we'll kick it off with Barcelona and Sevilla in La Liga. And man, 1-0 to the Barcelona. It's not going to change anytime soon, is it?
I think it will, yeah, because I mean I think they've had a hard time. Let me look, but it seems like they've had a hard time keeping clean sheets.
Yeah, their defense is.
Yeah, here we go. They've conceded 2 goals to Mallorca. They've conceded 2 goals to Celta Vigo. They did beat Betis. Conceded to Osasuna. They conceded to Villarreal.
Yeah, and a lot to Villarreal, too.
So, I mean, their defense is not as good as last year.
Not even close. Yeah. And I was going to say, I don't want to say that they're like the complete opposite of last year as far as defensively, but they kind of are.
I mean, which team would you say is better? Barca right now or Barca a year ago this time?
I think the players on the field right now are better than last year.
On paper.
But I think you're onto something. I think that Barcelona were better last year.
Defensively, they were.
Defensively and in attack, I would say. Yeah, I think Barcelona probably, last year I think is probably a better team. And somehow they're still, right up there near first. Well, they're in first place now, aren't they? Or is Real Madrid in first place?
Real Madrid, I believe, is in first. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll tell you. I think this Barca team is worse than last year's. I'm going to go with it. It's because of the midfield.
How so?
I think it's the loss of Sergio Busquets.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean,
he was a leader. He was cool, calm, collected in that defensive midfield position. Mm-hmm. This season, who's their defensive midfielder?
I don't know.
De Jong, who's injured?
Romeo?
Gundogan?
Is it Romeo?
Gundogan's not a defensive midfielder.
Yeah, Romeo's been playing a couple of games. But he's not a world-class midfielder at all, so more of a Band-Aid put over a gaping wound.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, man. And then even their fullbacks. I mean, you got Balde on the left, but then they brought in João Cancelo on the right, who we know is fantastic going forward, but defensively,
but he does not play defense. Yeah,
he's not defensively there. He's not last year that it seemed like they were playing Jules Koundé at right back, who is a defender.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's those couple changes, which is why they're conceding more goals. But you're right, up front, Lewandowski, the emergence of Yamin Lamal, João Felix, they still got Rafinha, Ferran Torres. So they still got loads up front.
Yeah. I mean the injuries to Pedri and Gavi and
Gavi played.
And yeah, he's been hurt this season at times. So.
But I will say he looks like in the Sevilla game, he looked like their best midfielder. Yeah. Rafinha started in midfield and then had to come out injured. He pulled a hammy. But they brought in another young 20-year-old, Fermin Lopez, who had a fantastic chance to score and goalie saved it. But they won this game, man. 1-0 OG from Sergio Ramos.
I was so unlucky, too. What was he thinking?
It was a tough one.
Was he trying to pass it to the goalie? Like, his reaction said that he was.
What was it, like a header? Like, Lamine Yamal was trying to head it across the box, and it hits the kind of feed of Ramos and then bumbles into the goal.
Yeah, it almost looked like a square-footed pass. Like here, goalie, just clear it. But it was away from him, and it went into the net. So I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But this was a pretty open game. It was fun to watch. Barca had lots of chances. João Felix should have scored. He had a shot off the underside of the crossbar. Like I said, João Cancelo going forward looks fantastic defensively. A little scary.
I don't want to go as far as saying defensively inept, but it's pretty close.
Like I said, Gavi, man, he's a stud. Love watching him play. He's
amazing.
He gets into tackles too.
Yes,
had a fantastic goal line clearance too off his kind of thigh chest area.
Wow. Yeah, he's seriously impressed, but I mean it's just one player. He can't do everything. So, all right, next up we had the rivalry renewed in Benfica and Porto. Benfica winning this one 1-0, getting their season back with a victory over their bitter rivals. And it didn't start off good for Porto at all with a red card in the 19th minute.
No. Forward brought down by the last defender.
Yeah.
See you later.
Uphill battle from there as the Benfica legend Angel Di Maria got the lone goal in the 68th minute. An absolute pandemonium after he scored.
Oh, yeah, it was wild. Very wild.
Yeah. Benfica up to second after the win, and Porto dropped to third, both behind Sporting Lisbon. Both picked Porto to win this match, and we're wrong.
They did us dirty. Yeah, that red card didn't help.
And then we had a rematch of the German Supercopa as RB Leipzig took on Bayern Munich. Harry Kane coming off a hat trick last time out when Bayern thumped Bochum 7-0. Xavi Simons looking like a terror out on the field. Benjamin Sesko up and coming, scoring lots of goals. How would this one pan out? Well, it ended in a draw. 2-2.
Wonder who predicted that.
Yeah, weird. It's like you knew something. Yeah, I mean, the first is the telltale tale of two halves. How many times can I say tell? I don't know.
Tail. Heads and tails.
Yeah. But it was a tale of two halves. I mean, the first half, all RB Leipzig.
It was. They scored 2 goals in that first half. Luis Opineda got put through on goal. Deflection off Kim Min. Takes it in. And then some terrible goalkeeping led to Leipzig's second through Castello Luqueba.
Yeah. How badly do Bayern Munich need Manuel Neuer back?
I don't know, man. At this point, like, is Manuel Neuer still good? Coming off a broken leg? The guy's not young. He's 37.
I've also heard that he can't even kick a ball properly with that leg.
I mean, he's in training right now, so I'm guessing they're trying to get him back soon, but we'll see if it's the same Manuel Neuer.
Yeah. I don't think it will be. And I mean, they're not very convincing in goal. So
they're not convincing defensively at all.
No, very suspect. They just seem to be letting in goals left and right.
I mean, it doesn't help they're playing a defensive midfielder as their right back, Konrad Laimer.
Yeah, I don't understand why they don't put Joshua Kimmich back at right back. He's a natural right back. He started there. Why not put him back there if you need him?
He started there, but they like him. I mean, he's a fantastic midfielder, though, also.
Yeah, no. I mean, he's one of their best players anywhere he plays.
I mean, they have that Mazraoui, who's a right back, where they could play Rafa Guerrero on that right back. I know he's a left back, but
he has played right back for Dortmund in the past, so
he finally came back in this game. He's been out injured, Guerrero.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in the second half, Bayern came out to play, man. PK off after Leroy Sané took a free kick.
hit
Can't remember the
Hendricks in
player,
the
but he
elbow.
like stuck an elbow up.
I mean, it was Benjamin Hendricks, I think.
Was it Henricks? Yeah.
I think so.
Harsh, but you can see his arm goes up.
Going towards the ball, yeah. And then, as always, Harry Kane steps up and buries it. And I shouldn't say always, because I think the ball from the World Cup penalty is still traveling around the earth, but,
Yeah. But then, Leipzig got caught on a counterattack. Great play by Musiala to put in Leroy Sané. Sané has a great finish and 2-2.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking more like RB Leipzig with this counterattack. I mean, Leipzig had a corner. Musiala gets the ball, pretty much runs the length of the pitch with it, feeds Sané in, and easy as can be. Tied 2-2. But you were right. This Bayern defense, they're so bad.
I know. I picked them as Champions League favorites, but I don't know if they are.
Yeah, I did too.
That defense, dude, it leaks goals.
They need to start figuring out some chemistry in that defense, because they do not look on the same page whatsoever. And on paper, they have what looks like one of the best defenses in the world.
Kim Min-jae, Upamecano, De Ligt, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I don't understand. They should not be leaking goals like this. But, credit to Leipzig. They do it again against Bayern. Seem to be a bugaboo team for them.
They have been their Achilles heel, haven't they?
Yeah. All right, next up we had AC Milan and Lazio in a game where we thought it would be close, but it was anything but. As Christian Pulisic, again, is the star of the show, and he gets the first goal in the 60th minute.
Honestly, yeah, I think he was man of the match for me, man. Pulisic put in a good performance, making lots of runs, did good defensively. And this game was all Milan.
Yeah. And then after the goal, yeah, it was even more all Milan, because they just, foot on the gas. Lazio, no real clear-cut chances in this match. And Rafael Leao, another great game.
Yeah, had an assist, had a great run, cut back for
Noah Okafor.
Yep.
I mean, yes, this Milan team was very impressive in this one, but I just want to talk about how bad Lazio has been in the Serie A this season, because where are they sitting 15th now?
Yes, they are at the time of this recording. I think Sarri's tinkering with that lineup, man.
A little too much.
A little too much, yeah.
Yeah,
because they do have good players. They got that player from Girona last season who played really well, Castellanos. They still have Luis Alberto, Zaccagni, Felipe Anderson.
I mean, they have
Matteo
a good
Guendouzi.
squad. I don't know why they're playing so badly in the Serie A, though. It's just
Ciro Immobile, Kamada.
They're losing to teams that they should not lose against. I mean, Milan, you would say they probably should, but...
Fun fact, Pedro still playing.
Yeah, I did know that. What is he now?
For Lazio?
37?
He is 36.
He's old. All right, let's get to the match that...
But I picked Milan to win, just FYI.
You did. I did not. And I want to get to this match because this had every array of emotions known to man. Frustration, excitement, euphoria, anger, especially if you're a fan of one of these clubs.
So do you want to talk about the game or the controversy first?
We talk about both.
Both?
But let's talk about the controversy at the end, because I think we'll end up talking more about it.
Okay, so the game we're obviously talking about is Tottenham versus Liverpool, ended 2-1 in favor of Tottenham.
Yeah.
Started out fantastic.
Open
game, back and forth. Then there was a red card.
Yeah. Curtis Jones.
Curtis Jones.
Rolling over the ball, essentially. Studs hitting, I think it was Basuma? Or was it
I think so.
I
think it was Basuma.
Yeah. And in slow motion replay, it looked nasty. live play, it did not look as nasty. I think it was more.
Is it a red card for you?
I think yes, but a very unlucky red card. I mean, his leg's straight, studs are up, catches him high.
Caught him high.
But he did roll over the ball. So that's where it's like, I'm not sure if it should be. But yeah,
it's harsh. It's a harsh red card is what I would call it.
It's a harsh red card.
Harsh, unlucky, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think it's a red. His studs go into... I mean, he could have broke his leg. Let's be honest.
100%.
If his foot was planted...
Especially seeing how it bent after impact.
Yeah, like luckily his leg kind of gave out from the turf, and so then it moved. But
yeah,
it could have been nasty. It was dangerous. It's a red for me. It is unlucky. It's harsh, but it's a red.
Yeah. But I mean, we've seen Liverpool 10 men this season have been arguably better than Liverpool with 11. So exactly. I was like, both teams got exactly what they wanted.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. I literally was thinking of you when I saw that red card. I was like, oh, perfect. Liverpool's down to 10 men.
They're obviously going to win this game now. And then they thought they were winning it when they thought they had the lead through Luis Diaz, but it was called back for offsides.
We'll get back to that one. And then Tottenham scored through Son. Terrible defending by Joe Gomez.
Oh, God.
He got caught a little too far out wide.
He looked lost.
He got caught too far out wide for a fullback. Should have been a little tucked in. And James Maddison played a peach of a ball, though, to Richarlison, who then laid it across for Son and put it away. Great finish. Yeah. But Cody Gakpo equalizes just before halftime. Injures himself in the process.
Yeah.
Second half rolls around. Diego Jota comes on. And he gets a yellow card, and then he gets another yellow card like a minute and a half later. For a red, Liverpool down to 9.
Yeah. And then it was all Tottenham from there. I think.
And then honestly, I thought it was going to end in a draw, man. Tottenham looked out of ideas.
It should have.
But Pedro Porro fires a low, hard cross.
And
Phil Matip, playing with 9 men, a little tired, puts it into his own net.
Unlucky. Like, that ball could have gone anywhere. And it goes into the roof of the net. Like, it was a striker's finish, first off. Second, I just felt so bad for him. Because it's like literally
everyone felt bad for him,
the last kick of the game. Like, what? Tottenham, I don't think, deserved to win that match. Liverpool should feel very, very hard done by it.
I want to back up a little bit, though, to that Jota red card. The first yellow, man, talk about harsh. Like, honestly, it took a few replays for me to see if he even touched the player to clip him and then for him to go down. Like, I had did he touch him? It didn't look like he touched him. But you can see on the replay, there's just a sliver of contact. Harsh.
Super harsh. I don't agree with it. So... Speaking of harsh and not agreeing with it.
Let's go back to the Luis Diaz goal that should have been.
Yes.
You want to explain it or you want me to?
You go ahead, because it makes my head hurt.
So Luis Diaz scores a goal. It gets called offside. It goes to VAR. VAR says check complete to the referee. Play continues. Well, there was a mix-up because Luis Diaz was in fact onside.
Yeah.
And there was no communication between the VAR and the on-field referee. And so the VAR ref thought, oh, well, he's onside, so check complete. It's a goal. Not knowing that the call on the field was for offside, not a goal. And so when the on-field ref heard check complete, thinks that the offside is the correct call, and the goal is not allowed.
Can't make
so many errors.
Up. You can't even make this up.
Is this the lowest point in VAR?
100%. Because this is not even comical anymore. Because this is one of the easiest calls to not mix up. Literally, how hard is it to just say, yes, check is complete, it's a goal? How hard is it to say that?
Just said check complete.
Yeah,
That's
not
all
just
they
check
said.
complete. Like you didn't like is this VAR referee even watching the game?
They're not, obviously. I think once that goal goes in, they immediately go to the replay of the goal, and they're not
Mhm.
watching, for example, like us fans watching the live feed. Because obviously, when you watch the live feed, you see the linesman. They pan to the linesman holding up his flag for offside.
Mhm.
And then as we're watching the game, they didn't draw lines. They just showed the camera, and it looked like he was onside. And you
Mhm.
hear the commentators, "Oh, well, this must be like that weird camera angle again, where he looks onside, but he isn't." But they don't draw any lines, so you can't tell. And then just zero communication, terrible human error. This wasn't the technology. This was
No.
the human error aspect
Well,
of it.
usually these errors, especially in England, it's not the technology; it is the human error. Like,
And
technology doesn't do
offsides is
anything wrong.
something that's yes or no. It's not negotiable. Like, for example, that red card. Was it a red card? Oh, some people might say yes, some people might say
Yeah.
no. Was it like that Wolves Manchester United game where Onana came out and clattered someone? Was that a PK? Was it not? Some people can argue yes, some people can argue no. You can't argue offsides. It's a yes or no. He was either offside
Very
or not.
black or white. Yeah.
Yeah. It's similar to goal line technology. It's a goal or it isn't.
Either crossed the line or didn't. Pretty
And
simple.
so it's, I've listened and heard so much stuff on it already. It's been all over. There's something like that VAR team was in Qatar 2 days earlier or 3 days earlier, whatever it was, on Thursday doing a game, and then they had to fly back and do this game and
Why are they in Qatar? I don't understand that.
doing games. They were scheduled to do the Sunday game for Brentford, Nottingham Forest, which they obviously were
Taken
not.
off of, obviously.
But Howard Webb, man, the head of it all, has got to be shivering in his boots, man.
It's
Because
almost like no matter
looks so bad.
yeah,
It's
no matter
so
what
bad.
no matter what Howard Webb does, they seem to just find a way to
embarrass
outdo
them.
themselves and embarrass themselves. Because it's
Like-
like each one of these just gets comically worse and worse and worse. I don't understand it at all. Like, pay us to do it. Like, I will gladly go earn $500,000 to do VAR, and I bet you I would do it 10 times better than they would.
Well, the thing
this
is,
rate.
it's not like they don't get training or they're not going to, lectures or seminars or whatever on this stuff.
It's like one of those scenarios. You have one job.
This isn't someone who's, has
job.
a different job and then does this refereeing thing for fun. These are paid professionals.
Yeah, and they're making it look like a Sunday league.
They really are, man. They really are.
Yeah. I mean, both coaches came out and criticized VAR after the match, and you know it's bad when the winning coach criticizes it. And then at the day of this recording, so it was this Sunday, Liverpool came out with a statement saying that they are considering multiple actions as far as lawsuits or whatever to investigate match fixing. Because this was a little suspect, in my opinion. Not just the VAR, but the refereeing in this game in general.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I would be hard done if I was a Liverpool fan, and I mean, it's similar to last year. I mean, they did it to Arsenal where they drew the lines on the wrong player. They don't give you points. They apologize.
Yeah, that's it. Just sorry.
But the thing is this is, these are companies where this could mean millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen title races end up with a point, 2 points loss. You might remember that Man City Liverpool race.
Mm-hmm.
So this could potentially cost teams millions of dollars.
Yeah, in a title race that looks like it could possibly be much closer than last year, as with more teams. This is not a 2-horse race. It's a lot more.
And so
than
I don't like it, man. The VAR, I think VAR should stay, but it needs to be better. I like the VAR we had for the World Cup. I love it in the Champions League, man, where it's almost like it's AI, it's artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
And like they'll show you the part of the body on a little animation that was offsides. I love that.
How hard is it to do that for the Premier League. I mean, it's the richest league in the world.
Well, they tried to, but the clubs voted it down.
Oh, well, then that's the club's fault. So
I guess the clubs voted for it to vote it down, and now they're reaping what you sow.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It shouldn't have happened. But here we are, getting to pick on the VAR in England. I mean, it's one of the best leagues in the world and not the best referees in the world. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's probably, one would argue, the worst refereeing in the world as far as major leagues go.
Could be up there, man. It's pretty bad.
Very, very bad. But what do you guys think? Let us know. Is VAR, should we continue with it even? At this point, you might even be better off not having it. But what do you guys think? Is Liverpool, should they sue the Premier League? Should they sue the, Refs Association? Should
this game be replayed?
Ooh, that's a good one. That is a very good one. I personally think yes, but we'll see.
Interesting stuff. But that brings us to the end of this episode. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for listening, watching us talk about our crazy football antics that we have. Don't forget to check out all of our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Give us 5 stars on the podcast platforms. And of course, subscribe on YouTube. And don't forget to check out our Redbubble. Get that sweet merch. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Cheers.